Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is actually June 3rd, and instead of like doing my typical watch list video that I put out, where you just see my screen, I thought I'd make it to where, first of all, you can see me. Happy Saturday. And also, actually, I'll walk you through my process of how I do my weekend prep. And so you can see how I go through it all and get ready for whatever setups unfold into next week. So let's go ahead and get started, right? All right, so first, actually, before I get into this, there is approximately about, there's actually about 5 setups I'm gonna look for next week, and they're all for the upside. I typically like, I like to play the squeezes or I'll play the long continuation plays. And with the way the market's rebounding, some exhaustion buy signals might not be a bad idea. I don't want to do any exhaustion sell plays. And within the expected move plays, I don't think I'll do those as well, simply because there is just a lot of momentum in the market right now. And so I think just being structured for the upside is the way to go. So what I'm going to do here is we'll do my market analysis, we'll do my sector analysis, basically my sector breakdown, because I like to be long the strongest stocks and the strongest sectors, and short the weakest stocks and the weakest sectors. And the market right now is actually kind of giving opportunity for both ends. Typically, most of the time the markets ebb and flow together up, but as of lately, there's some stuff going down and stuff going up. So we'll just see what we could find and play around with. So now we'll really get started. All right, so we got the SPY here. As far as sector analysis goes, what I like to use is simple. It's just moving averages right here. So I just have a 250 and 20 SMA. So in a nutshell, if it is above the 20 SMA, it's a 1. If it's above the 50, that's another 1. And if they're both sloping up, that's another 1. So they'll give it a +3, right? And that's the strongest you can get. And vice versa, so they go from a +3 all the way down to a -3. And if it's 0, that means I expect more sideways action, things like that. So just so you get a kind of a general view of how I'm going to how I use these numbers, and it'll make more sense as we do it. And it really only takes maybe 5 minutes, so you can see how you have things, or how I have things structured. All right. So first off, right, we're above the 20 SMA. That's +1. Above the 50 SMA. That's another +1. So 2, and they're basically sloping up. So I mean, it's a 3. I mean, and you can easily just look at it like this thing is wanting to, it looks like wants to go higher. Something's worth noting right here at the current moment is, go ahead and get this. You see these peaks right here? All I want to do is connect all these lines right here. So I'll just click here, draw a line across, and you kind of look, we're kind of running into a level of resistance. You can see how it's a level that's been respected a lot. Not to say that we can't get some, I don't know if I want to call it a short squeeze. Just to say it doesn't mean price can't get above it, but it is a level that we have been, right, kind of consolidating. We got our breakout. Now the question is, do we oscillate here and break out, or do we just print another ginormous fat candle like this? I don't know. All I do know is we're rallying up into this resistance level. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm expecting sideways to up action in this type of play, right? We're just looking at it, it's a +3, things are going up, but into a level of resistance, but it doesn't mean we can't go above it. So this is just the overall market, and how I track this stuff is I do put it in an Excel spreadsheet right here. So as we're updating this for this week, the SPY is a +3, so what does that mean? Stocks in the SPY would want to be long, so let's check out the Qs. All right, move all the drawing set. I mean, the Qs are just on they're just rallying, right? So we're kind of right here at this gap. We're testing this gap right here. I'll draw this line. I'll fade it out here so you can see where I'm drawing this from. And actually it kind of pulls from all the way right here. So I'll click here, draw a line across. That's kind of right there, right? We're hitting this gap entry right here. I mean, the Qs are so extended. There's this level of resistance. We're testing this gap. If I pull up the Keltner channels, I'm sure we're like way outside the third ATR band, right? I think some consolidation and or possibly even a pullback is certainly warranted in the Qs. So when it comes to the Qs index, like that sector, or I guess index, what I should say, really, looking for longs in that area, you're going to have to be a little bit careful. I mean, it's tough to want to buy up here. for me anyways. And it could keep running. It could run without me. I'm okay with it running without me. I'm just not going to buy up here at the highs. So I'm okay with being a little bit patient on the Qs. Now let's go ahead and go to the diamonds, see if they're starting to turn around. Last time I looked at this, they were not so Qs. We got 3. So last time I gave the diamonds a 0. So where we're at right now. All right, so look, we're starting to bounce up, coming back to life. So this is where I use that process of making it strong. So look, they are still cross negative, so that we can't deny that, but they look like they do want to cross positive. It did balance right here in this support zone, and also it hit the daily 200 SMA and it bounced strongly off, right? But we are above the 20, above the 50, but they are still negative, so I'm going to give it a 0. I'm still going to go with a 1 on these guys and this index, simply just because these are still cross negative. Once they turn around, by all means, I'll flip my hat and go really strong on them. But nonetheless, let's give it a 1. Now let's check out the Russell. Here, actually, I don't even know why I have the like that. Let's check out IWM. All right. All right. So yeah, this has been the weakest and it's all, but look, we're starting to break out and we're actually out of the box finally, right? So if I just simply draw a line here, it's kind of in this range, and we're finally above it. So this may actually start to turn around. I'm just not going to look to go exactly going long anything here. Was make sure it actually wants to stick around, really, right? So, but we're above the 50, we're above the 20, and quite well on above average volume. You can see that volume bar right there. Okay, cool. Now that it is turning around, I'll just give it a 1 as well. All right, cool. For the most part, and for the first time in a while, everything is positive when it comes to the market right here. That's great. All right, so from here, I want to go ahead and look at these tickers, or sorry, the sectors. And I actually need to erase these. Okay, now let's do the sectors. We'll take it from the top. I'll just move this over here, and we'll do this quickly. Then we'll just start running through the scanners. Okay, next, XLC. Communications site. This is like your Metas, your Netflixes, things like that. So, I mean, looking at it, it is clearly just an uptrend. Above the 20, above the 50, above 200 is just rocking and rolling higher. Still has room up to about this little area where price might be respected. If we look here, I mean, squeeze at the 30 TR, nonetheless, it's moving. So, give that sector a +3. Now, next is Tech, XLK. I like to use the spider ETFs as my level of, or as my ETF of measuring the sectors. Something worth pointing out, and this has no value right now, but it's pretty cool to see it in hindsight. If you're unaware, I used to track dark pool stuff a lot, and then I kind of faded from it because I started doing just a lot of 0DT stuff. But it's really cool to see that, like right here, I've had this here whenever I was like, man, that's 30% of its average daily volume done in one transaction. I was like, that is a huge print. Anyways, I've had it marked there since then, and look, that was the dead lows of here at the tech, and it's been rallying since then. That's crazy, right? Um, but yeah, that's reading the tape, and it doesn't matter right now. Just nonetheless, that hey, that was the dead bottom whenever this print hit the tape. But nonetheless, looking at it, we're above the 50, above the 20 into resistance. It's a strong sector, so we'll just keep it status quo 3. Now next is SMH. Obviously, super strong, especially on Nvidia's thing. A huge rally after earnings, but we are above the 20, above the 50, sloping up. That is a 3 as well. And so I am putting them right here. So got 3, 3, 3. Now next is XLY. I was watching this one last week because it was looking like it was wanting to break out to the upside, and there it goes. It was in a squeeze coming up here to the highs, but we'll just +1, +1, sloping up. Give it a 3. Bam. Now the home builders, XAB. All right, boom, boom, boom. Right, so above, above. So from here, all I want to do, give it a 3 as well. Now healthcare. All right, see, this one's a little bit different. I'm going to give this one a, let's see, we're basically at the 20, which is a 0. It's below the 50, that's -1, and then they are slope negative. So I'm actually going to give this one, technically, if you were to follow it, it is basically, well, there are cross negatives, so that is a 0. So basically it is a -1, but I want to kind of give it a 0, simply because it kind of like, it's either like in this range or go like that, however you want, but you can't deny that they are, all the moving averages are crissing and crossing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is give this a 0, simply because they are crossed like that. Now XLU, below the 50, below the 20, cross negative. Down on support though, but nonetheless it's negative, so we'll give that a, and they're not really sloped down, so -2. And you don't have to be overly precise when you kind of do this method here. It's more of just getting a general idea where all the money's flowing into, just using simple moving averages. It's really quite simple. So from here, below the 200, so that's something to note in there. We're above the, we are above. We're basically touching on both, and they're both slope 0. I'm going to give this a 0. So because it's touching both moving averages and they are cross negative and their slope of them are completely sideways. So we'll give that one a 0. This is XLRE. Don't need that there. XTL, which is communications. Slope slightly, we'll call it basically barely 0. It is above the 20, but there's still get about a -1, which is there. Now check out industrials, XLI. All right, above the 50, above the 20, slatted 0, so I'll give it a 1. And you see it's just over and over, and you do this, and this is kind of like where you find the strongest and weakest sectors. All right, F, XLF financials. Okay, above them both, so that's basically a +2, and then they are barely, I'll give it a 2. See if it does start to change back up. That's good, because we went from -3 to a 2. Solid recovery there, financials. Energy, I know it did look like oil is trying to turn around. All right, so let's go ahead and clear this drawing set. All right, so below the 50, right, -1, at the 20, so that's a 0, and then they're kind of slope 0. So -1 in XLE. XLP. Below both and kind of going sideways. So, and they're not really, so -2 on the staples. And then now materials. I know materials had a huge rally. And that's a nice pop where we go. All right. So we're at the 20, so it's a 0, below the 50, -1, and they're sloped sideways. So that's still a -1, regardless of the rallies that's occurred there. It also means you don't exactly have to go participate in it. All right, so now we have our weakest and strongest sectors and our weakest and strongest market side, right? So I usually go here, and I'll go from largest to smallest. So look, now I know by looking at this. All right, cool. These are all the main sectors I want to be long. Here are the sectors I want to be short. And here are the ones that are kind of like sideways. So it just helps you really identify where you would want to go. Now within these sectors, I go looking for these setups, right? And with the current market that we're currently in, right, meaning where it looks like everything wants to go higher, so we just want to focus on the longs. I don't really want to cap the upside move, really. So like I mentioned, what I'm going to be looking for is just squeeze plays, right? You know, the TTM squeeze or squeeze pro. I'm going to look for the first green 10x bar that just printed with the strong moves. Some things could start moving, meaning the momentum could be going red to yellow, meaning from bearish to neutral. And now we're getting momentum to the upside. And now we just got to look for our entry on those tickers that are just now flipping with momentum to the upside. So we'll look for our first green 10x bars, squeezes, and also I'm going to look for reversal signals and tickers that already have green 10x bars. So why that? That basically tells you that the momentum is going up in this ticker, but the reversal arrow, which is the low of high bar, basically just indicates that a pullback is occurring. So it's great. So a ticker is going up, but now we're getting a signal that a pullback is occurring. So we just put on our watch list, wait for it to hit that daily 21 EMA. And then another one is I'll look for tickers that have green 10x bars and are already at the daily 21 EMA. And like I said, and also exhaustion buys. I'm going to look for some reversal buy signals, which is high of low bar. Basically, is the average 21 price, the average price of the last 21 bars, the low price average, that candle pierces it, and then whatever candle pierces that level, whenever it breaks that high, that's when I print basically a buy signal on my charts, and that's basically telling you that price is reversing. You get enter long, stop at the low, and look to target that daily 21 EMA, and then potentially the +1 or +2 ATR on that setup. I'll show you what I mean. We actually got in one awesome in the options room yesterday on Friday on Starbucks, and it's a great example. And we'll look at those. But let's go ahead and go run the scanners. All right, so first up, let's go ahead and look for those squeezes. So all I want to do is go over here and look for some squeezes. So these are low compression squeezes. There is going to be no volume right now. So look for low compression squeezes with the price between the 34 EMA and the 8 EMA. And the reason for that is because that's where the daily 21 EMA would be. So looking for things that are potentially in a squeeze right now. So we have Roblox, Rivian. I haven't seen that in a while. Ooh, that price has dropped quite a bit. Rivian, I know Shop is the momentum is printing lower, but I think it wants to go higher. TOST, can't say I look at the TOST CMG, huh? All right, so let's look at these. Roblox, Shop, and also we could consider the sector here. That's why I have this here. So remember, if we pull this up, all right. So communication services, Roblox, right? Right here, boom. So we'll look at that ticker there. Information, this is basically XLK. So technology. Financials, whoops. Financials were a +2. They're kind of get there. So we'll look at TOST. We'll check the liquidity on that too. Consumer discretionary, which is XLY. See it's strong here, so we'll check out CMG and Rivian. So we'll look at those. So you can see how they fit the area where we want to go bullish. All right, so first up, Roblox. All right, it's printing its first squeeze right here. All right, it's at the daily 21. It's only its first bar though, so we don't exactly have to like rush into it, but it's certainly worth watching. But if we just use our labels as our gears, right, to enter this trade, it has yellow 10x bars, which is normal for a squeeze. There's no momentum, and then it has stacked EMAs. VWAP isn't going to be as important because we're barely into the month right here, so that's going to be an accurate signal. But nonetheless, it's at the entry zone with a 1-bar squeeze. I'm okay with keeping this in. It's in a strong sector. It's an area where it potentially may work. So we'll go ahead and go to bullish squeeze. Roblox. Cool. Next one was, all right, Shop. I'm personally already in Shop, and I'll tell you this, it's in a squeeze that's showing you a bearish histogram, but I think it's going to slingshot. Simply because you look at this and you see it's rally, it is have stacked DMAs, VWAP is actually stacked here, it has green 10x bars, and it's at the entry zone, support held. If you want to play this for a squeeze, I think if you want to wait for the momentum to shift positive, then that's your high probability trade. But as I was okay with coming in and buying on this dip to the 34 EMA, in the context of everything is looking bullish after this big earnings play. But if you're going to play the squeeze here is to wait till it shifts positive. This is a good 10x bar setup as it is stacked EMAs. VL is positive, ADX is green, EMA is stacked, like everything says wants to go higher versus that squeeze. But for me, I could read price action and it looks like it wants to potentially go higher. So this is actually, I'm going to go down into the continuation long play. Though I'm already in it, but it's for those of you that potentially are not. So shop, can't say, like I said, I'm familiar with TOST. See what's its liquidity there? I guess so. Yeah, it's barely printing its squeeze. Is at the daily 21 EMA. I don't know. I can say where we're. Let's look at it from a big picture. Let's go over here. Pull up the weekly chart. Interesting. TOST. Well, nonetheless, it's in a squeeze. This might play up. It's all right. We play setups, not tickers. So I'll go ahead and put it down. Okay. And next was CMG. All right. Here we go. Crazy how much a burrito will cost you these days. All right. So actually, yeah, we'll look at the squeeze on a different chart. So what I'm going to look at here is you can look and on my gauges over here. I call them my gauges, right? Look right here. So the monthly, weekly, and 4-day charts have bullish momentum. Other in a squeeze that is firing to the upside. After earnings, strong gap up and has been consolidating sideways since then. It's VWAP stack positive. It's at the top of its yearly channel. Stacked EMAs, green 10x bars. Everything is looking great. Now it's coming into a squeeze. Great. Now I want to come and pull up my other squeeze chart and not that one. Too many charts, so little time. Where? I don't like it whenever Thinkorswim moves my charts around. Okay, so here, it's in a squeeze. It's on the outside of 30 channel list because of earnings on the weekly time frame. That's the only caveat there. It is extended on that side of things. And here, it might be worth waiting for a little bit more of a deeper pullback down to the 21 EMA and look to play that squeeze. I do like it for that aspect. I mean, if you look here, the weekly time frame squeeze is still firing. A little pullback down to basically 2025 is a little bit more I would like to look for, simply just because it is extended, and that's after earnings. Not to say earnings can't keep pushing it up, but something certainly worth waiting for. If I'll go pull up the 195-minute chart, we kind of get a little bit of a heads up to see what's going to happen here. Okay, cool. So what this could do, how we could play this, is you can wait for this 195-minute chart to fire down. Maybe it'll come down to about here. And at that moment, that's when price will come to here. And we can look to play that squeeze back up to the upside. So I do like CMG, Chipotle to the upside. Okay. And other scanned Frisker. Yeah, that's too cheap for me to play Rivian. I'm not gonna play anything below 14 bucks. Okay, cool. So that's that. So those are our squeeze plays. So those are our consolidation plays we're look to participate in. From there, like I mentioned, let's go ahead and let's just look for tickers that have bullish momentum that are near the entry zone. So for me, what is that? That is, I want green 10x bars, but are near the 21 EMA. Where's my scan? Here it is. And there's not going to be volume right now, so I'll get rid of that. Letting it load. It's having to think a lot. Okay. Now from there, I want to go ahead and let's divvy this up by volume. Okay, so we have shop, CRM, AI, that whole craze we see here. I've actually even looked at the chart just to know about it. Yeah, I'm not going to play with that. Okay, so shop, already talked about CRM, CrowdStrike. All right, it does have bullish momentum. After earnings, it did a gap down. I'll keep an eye on it. Entry zone is still at the daily 21 EMA, going sideways. There is still lots of volume coming in this ticker here. I'll keep an eye on it as a potential continuation along here, but we'll keep it down. This was CrowdStrike. Earnings gap up. Let's see here. Need to get a bigger view. It's kind of running into this resistance here. Watch if I extend to the right. And all it is this peak right here. I want to give this one a little bit more time. You see how the moving averages are kind of like close and not really trending higher. So I'll leave CrowdStrike alone. There's easier money out there to be made. Now, let's see, Cyber, SYBR. Since I'm overly excited, looks like it's kind of stuck in a range. And that's pretty much it for at the entry zone. Okay, so next after that, I mentioned let's look for tickers that are printing their first green 10x bar, right? So if it's printing as first green 10x bar, meaning momentum is just shifting positive, and now we just got to wait for entry at the right zone, if there are any setups for it. All right, still thinking. Okay, so from here, oh, that's why, because this is a volume issue here. Oh, well, first off, there is no volume right now as the market is closed. Let's try it again. So after we get this, then we'll scan for potential tickers with bullish momentum that is signaling a potential pullback. And then we'll look for exhaustion buys, and that's it. Like I mentioned, I don't want to do any within the expected move type trades, and not really looking to get bearish as of yet either. Simply because I mean this market is just pretty strong. So there is, let's widen this out some, 200. I'm gonna look in our strong sectors, and I'll put this up here if you haven't seen it, or not that you haven't seen it, but while we're waiting. Okay, here we go. So SLF, let's go here. I'll divide this by sector. So nothing there, and then real estate. What did we give real estate? We'll see if there's anything there. Exhilarating, 0. So we're gonna leave that alone. Communication services, ZD. Yeah, no setup there. As it's just messy. And now let's continue going. FIVN. I don't like how it's going up into the daily 200 SMA right here. So moving on to the next. All right, financials did start to perk up. We'll see if there's anything over here worth messing with. We'll check out CME. Just going through all of the tickers here. Ones that I know will have some liquidity. Lululemon, McDonald's. All right, cool. So, the CME. All right, so you see how here I would like it to, I don't like how it's going into the 50-day SMA, so I'm going to leave that alone. And then what was the other one? McDonald's. Okay, so this is kind of something I'm looking for. Okay, so as price was actually, so I know I keep saying so a lot, apologies. So if we look at this here, we'll just crunch it. We can see that the trend has been higher. It consolidated, hit the daily 200, and then had a strong push higher, right? Now it has pulled back to this little level right here. I wonder if this is some type of weekly support. But nonetheless, has pulled back. Now it's printing its first green 10x bar. So why is this important? So we had bullish momentum on the way up, had bearish momentum on the way down, and now we're hitting support. And now the bullish momentum is coming back in the context of where the moving averages are pretty much moving higher. It has reclaimed the 50-day SMA, and it's hitting the daily 21 EMA. All right, so I'm thinking this may be potentially a good little buy. So these will be basically continuation longs. So MCD. And we mentioned, oh, we're gonna go looking again at Pambo Lulu. All right, let's see. Okay, so that is McDonald's. So we got that down. And next, I believe it was Lulu. Sorry, I have to say it like that. I don't know about y'all, but I have kids, and you know that new movie Super Pets? What do you know? Resistance held once again. Probably not going to trade this one. Amazing how Resistance plays, right? Kept up right into it and failed. All right, so Lulu is not going to be it. I'm sorry what I was saying about Lulu, the Super Pets, you know, the guinea pig. I am Lulu. Sorry, I know I'm a weirdo. All right, so next is, we talked about that now, 3M. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, cool. So this is starting to look like it wants to turn around, right? It has printed a green 10x bar on above average volume. If you don't know what these blue dots are, so that blue dot basically means it is 50% of its average daily volume done in that one in that candle. So that means it's spiked up with a lot of volume. It's reclaimed the 50-day SMA and all its moving averages. Really, it's kind of like this trend line right here. Whoops, that was not a straight line. Almost looks like this trend line is being broken, right? If it gets broken, then we can look to play it back up to the upside. Now we just need this to be in the entry zone. And it looks like, I don't know, it's kind of like a tough situation of, do we just buy a higher above the 50 and look for it to move, or do we wait for it to get near the 21 EMA? I'm going to wait for it to kind of clear this mess up, maybe move around and then push higher. But I'll keep a watch on it, but I'm not exactly rushing in to get this one. Okay. Faces, so this is industrials. Right now we're going into energy, which we're not really good. Okay, cool. So that's all of the first green 10x bars. So not a whole lot as of right now, but we'll see what more unfolds that we would want to participate in from there. All right, so we did squeezes. First green 10x bar. We also did green 10x bars at 21 EMA. Next up will be, we'll look for tickers that have a green 10x bar but are printing a reversal signal. Oh, volume will not be here. All right, cool, and absolutely nothing that I want to participate in. And the reason I say that is because, for one, whenever you get a bunch of tickers like this, well, CrowdStrike wouldn't really bother me, but we already looked at that. It's typically something I don't want to really want to trade. GTLB, I'm not sure why that sounds familiar. Let's take a look. Well, when's earnings on this? The 5th? Well, okay, so I'm not going to hold that through earnings. All right, so that's all of that. Now let's look for exhaustion buy setups. And I usually like to start that by looking for a reversal buy signal. Okay, and then I'm going to go here and just sort this by volume. AbbVie, what did we give healthcare? 0. ABBB, let's take a look. All right, so all this volume coming down. There is a Radi-Aim fire that occurred a few days ago, but now that we're getting a signal outside the 2 ATR, looking for this to potentially rally. I like to find these off of support though. All right, cool. That's what it is. I want to write this down. So where is support at? So you see how this congregation here, I'll simply just do this right there. So as respected here, here, and here, came down to a breaking that high. Target is going to be the 21 EMA. So this is one worth watching. Sorry. Exhaustion buy signal. Bam. So this setup, just a quick recap on these setups here. I could actually erase this. Okay, so to understand how this works, price is coming down into a level of support. Now, from here, what was the signal? How I found it was over here. So price came down to support. This is printing a high of low bar, and actually, that's not the right chart to show you. It's right here. Bam. Right, remember that average 21 bar price low I was talking about? That's what this purple line is. This candle pierced the low, right? This candle pierced the low. Now the next candle broke the highs, signaling an entry to go long, stop at the lows. Here's your first target, and then the second target is the +1 ATR, which would be all the way up at basically 145. So I do like that one. Pretty solid little setup there. Now let's continue on. Heavy, Affleck, ADM. ASO, AFL, ADM. ASO. Can't say I've ever played Academy. Archer Daniel Midland. So if materials does want to continue moving up, this might be one certainly considering. Clear drawing set. So it came down this little zone. Looks like it's starting to hold and potentially want to. So we're getting a daily buy signal and a 2-day buy signal in the context of the larger time frames being bullish too. Cool. So not a bad idea. So I'll write that one down too. Because if the market is going to keep going higher, then coming in and buying some of these ones that are hitting support, and then they'll potentially move up with them. AFL, Affleck. Sorry. I mean, how many of y'all, you have to say that. Some of y'all are probably annoyed about this. Kind of funny. Okay, so coming down into support here, this little zone, it's not overly clean though. Yeah, I'm gonna leave Affleck alone. Okay, continuing. There's a whole lot of them. It looks like the rest were just, here, I'll throw up 200 real fast. And this is the last scanner we got to run. Oh, here we go. Disney. Why were these not up here a second ago? Maybe I completely overlooked them. All right, let's check out Disney. All right, came down to this area, right? Down. And we'll see how far are we from the daily to 21 EMA. We're just right there. Yeah, I don't like that one. I already looked at CVX. That one's already at the 21 EMA, just like this one. It's already at the daily 21 EMA, which is this dotted white line. So therefore, there is no, the trade's already occurred because that's our first target in these setups, the daily 21 EMA, and it's already there. So we're gonna leave that alone. Let's see. Okay, what does it come down to? About this level right here. Is there room for it? Is that the 1 ATR? Would like it a little bit further. But I'll keep an eye on it. eBay. Foot Locker. Oh, well, this is a good look, decent looking little squeeze if it does reclaim the 50. But it's not overly clean. We'll leave it alone. Foot Locker. All right, cool. So this one I do like. All right, so I'm going to talk about this one for a minute. First, I'm going to maximize this. We do have a ready fire, but that's after this big move lower. There wasn't really an aim, right? Like right here, ready, aim, fire. Right here's just ready, fire. But what I do like about it is it did come down, and we're breaking that high of low. Pull up this other chart here, right? And if I do this, see how it came down about this level of support here? Just look to the left. See all where this volume was accumulated here? And then we moved up since then. Well, volume came down to here. And now we're getting our signal to go long, right? We're breaking this high. It's a simple little way to consider going long. So we're getting our print off of this level of support. Trigger to go long is was Friday. And if it lingers here on Monday, we go long, stop at the lows. First target, daily 21 EMA, which lines up perfectly with this gap fill. And then after that, if it does so wish to keep going, it'll be the +1. That's supposed to be plus sign. +1 or +2 ATR. Really do like that one, so I'll put Foot Locker down. FL. Okay. See, we're getting pretty full of everything to watch. I think we have plenty to watch right now. Waiting to see what happens on Monday. So that's it. I think we have plenty to watch for there. So I'll put this back up here for you a minute if you wish to look at this watch list. So we have Roblox, Toast, Chipotle, AbbVie, Archer Daniel Midland, Etsy, and Foot Locker for those exhaustion buy signals. And continuation longs are Shopify, CRM, McDonald's, 3M, and like that. And here it's the sector strengths and weaknesses. So I hope you found this helpful. And so thank you guys for hanging out with me and watching this whole video if you actually stay to the end of this. But this is what I do every weekend. I look at my indexes, I look at my sectors, and I look for these main setups that I could trade in these particular sectors and look to play them out over and over. But to quickly recap the type of scanning we did today is we did the squeezes, we did the first green 10x bar looking for it to showing a shift in momentum, and we want to enter at the buy zone, which is the 21 EMA. And then we also searched for exhaustion buy signals based off of the reversal arrows. And we also searched for, I have them all written down here. Oh yeah, green 10x bar, so bullish momentum that have printed a reversal candle, which that was one where we had there was nothing in the scanner that I set up at all. So my expectation next week is really to just be structured bullish and just keep playing those setups until proven otherwise, and be cautious on the Qs because they are extended into resistance, and we'll see what happens there. But thank you all for, like I said, spending your Saturday with me, or maybe watch this Sunday, whatnot. But have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see how this week plays out. Take care, everybody.